Pokemon Battle Revolution Metronome Tournament number 2. Let's begin in Group A with our first group stage match. Sharon versus Damien. Sharon's team consists of Jigglypuff, Wingull, and then 4 Psychic types: Wobbuffet, Hypno, Slowking, and Jirachi. While on Damien's side, he seems to have a little bit of a strategy with Sandstorm at the end, some Intimidate Pokemon, and also Shedinja, which is likely to be either super useful or not useful whatsoever.
The Pokémon stand heroically against an inspiring view of Poketopia at night.
The Metronome Tournament is underway, and Sharon's Wingull gets the first attack. And we're going to start the tournament off with Constrict, which doesn't work on a Ghost. Also not on something with Wonder Guard that isn't weak to it, because considering Constrict isn't really hitting anything. Critical Dragon Balls, half damage Jigglypuff. If this was Gen 6 or higher, that wouldn't have done anything, but Jigglypuff isn't a fairy type yet. And Jigglypuff is down before it can even move. Damien will not be complaining about that start. No damage, 1 Pokemon KO'd. Now, unlike the last turn where it was just choose whatever Pokemon you want, which was ultimately won by a team full of legendaries, which makes sense, here I put a limitation. An average of 420 base stat total per Pokemon, or a total of 2,520 for the entire team. Which means every team is pretty much balanced. Ooh, starts out with another big move. So there are only a few things you can control. The type of your Pokemon, their ability. Those are things that, and like, if they are very defensive, very offensive, like in the base stats, that is something you can control. There's not much else. It's still luck-based. So even if you think, oh yeah, Intimidate's a great ability for the tournament, if the opponent keeps getting strong special moves, there's not much you can do. Now, Ice Ball, I'd say, is one of the better moves in the tournament. Not the best, that's Imprison. Especially if you do it early on, and you have high HP. Oh, Pursuit would have taken out Shedinja. But if you can survive for a couple turns, Ice Ball can deal so much damage, especially if the opponent's weak to it. You might remember 2 years ago in the tournament, Aqua versus Random. Aqua had a bunch of Dragon types. Random, with a generally a lot weaker team if you look at the base stat totals. Random had Ice Ball and took out a lot of Pokemon, dealt major damage. That's probably still the most exciting match you've seen. Wingull almost took us into anything that hits Shedinja, and I think Shedinja's weak to like 5 types or something like that. Can't take him out in one shot. Everything's holding a Leopard Berry, no Focus Sash here. Another big move. We have Dragon Pulse, with Flamethrower, with Solar Beam. That's Staravia's on a roll. And speaking of on a roll, so is Shedinja, continuously dealing more and more damage to that Wobbuffet. 90% accurate every turn, so it can miss. But as long as Shedinja isn't targeted by a super effective move, or something like Poison Powder or Hail isn't selected by Metronome, that's a really dangerous Shedinja. It either works well or it doesn't at all. Needle Arm. I guess they're focusing on Staravia. I guess if you have Needle Arm, you want to hit the Staravia, because it's not going to hit the Shedinja. Transform, that is good. Wobbuffet has higher base stat totals. That's probably useful. Would be interesting if we transform into Shedinja, because the only base stat that Transform doesn't copy is HP. So that way you'd have a Shedinja with Wonder Guard, but you have more than 1 HP. Also, that's a 4th turn on Ice Ball that caused a 2nd KO on Sharon's side. There's still a turn of Ice Ball left at really high power. That could cause another KO if not near it.
Can they end this quickly?
Wingull so fast. Can they take out the Shedinja? Otherwise Hypno is in trouble.
The move fails.
Hypno then? Ember? Reflects. Ooh, that halves the damage from Ice Ball. That might be just what they need to survive.
A fierce blow. Hypno.
And that was so necessary. KO would have been a lot better, but I guess better to keep your Pokemon.
Oh!
There is Giga Drain, dealing big damage. Both Wingull and Hypno are on low health.
Well, both corners still have a
And
chance
look
to
at
win
the
this.
really good looking health from the other side.
Expect to see next.
Shedinja's out of Ice Ball hit all of them, so far Shedinja has been super helpful. We've seen only one move that could have taken it out in Pursuit, but that was targeted at the other opponent. Stone Edge, that would also take it out, but it is aimed at Star Child. They really want to aim at that Shedinja, probably. Then again, Shedinja by itself doesn't have the best base stat total, but actually, no, its base stat total isn't super high just because its HP is super low. The rest of its stats are actually pretty good. So Wonder Guard plus the way its stats work might actually work out really well as long as it's not KO'd super quickly. Obviously you want to win as many matches as possible in the group stage to move on. But let's say you don't win everything, then tiebreakers do come into play. And the more Pokemon you have remaining when you win a match, or the lower amount of Pokemon the opponent has remaining when you lose a match, is key to that tiebreaker. And so far, Damien has the perfect start. 4 Pokemon knocked out. Now, Pokemon are always sent out in base stat total order, unless, of course, something like U-Turn or Whirlwind comes in that messes it up. So there's a base stat total. The strongest 2 on Sharon's team are coming out now, which are Slowking and Jirachi. But can they deal with the transformed Staravia and without still 1 HP Shedinja? There are teams that have Sandstorm and Hail built in to their Pokemon through abilities. But I've made it so that weather summoning abilities on Pokemon always are at the back of the team. So even if you have a Hippopotas and that would be your second lowest spaced out total, it's going to be at the back. That's a useless move. Is Shedinja even going down this turn? They really want to improve Shedinja's defenses with 1 HP. Minimize, that might be really useful. What Slowking or Jirachi want to see now is Imprison. And Imprison, as we learned in the last tournament, stays in play until the Pokemon is knocked out or switched out. So if Jirachi or Slowking were to do that, the opponents will struggle and therefore deal damage every turn, but then take 25% of their own damage as health. So do that, and especially if you can heal, like through Aqua Tail, no, Aqua Ring or something, or Ingrain, you're gonna stay alive for a long time. And the opponents are just gonna deal damage to themselves. Sometimes there's big moves like your Dragon Pulse, like your Giga Drain, like your 5th turn Ice Balls. But quite often it's chip damage through things like a not very effective Ember. And even Giga Drain, but then on a fire type, that's not going to deal a lot of damage either. Often the damage isn't so high, so if you can deal consistent damage over a couple of turns, let's say just through poison, if you use Poison Powder, that can be huge. The stat increases, speed and evasiveness on Slowking's side. Slower speed for Jirachi, but increased attack and defense, that can be useful. Especially considering it still has high HP, it has some time to make use of it. Bug Buzz, that would have been super effective on the Wobbuffet. Big damage, but no. They were hoping for the luck of Shedinja. So far it's not working. Shedinja can be so easy to take out, or it can be so much in the way. Giga Drain again. Bit of damage, bit of health. Had interesting. They only had oh yeah, because they only had 5 power points on Metronome due to transform. But now they have 10 because of Lepiberry. And they still have the opening too. Ember, but not on Shedinja! That's what couldn't like anything that's super effective at Shedinja. We see Pursuit Stone and Ember now. There we go, Drill Peck! Shedinja's down! It only took them about 10 turns. But there's a KO on Damien's side. We're gonna get to see more of his team. And that was a boosted and powered Drill Peck as well, due to a curse. Minimize so far hasn't made Slowking dodge a lot of moves. Alright, third Pokemon, Gold Wolf.
Is sent out.
Intimidate to lower that attack again. Natural Gift that gets rid of the Lepiberry, and it's not going to do that much damage. And the thing is, with Slowking and Jirachi, you have to survive for a long time to take out 5 Pokemon, so they're probably going to have to use a lot of Metronomes. So, you don't see Pokemon running out of their power points too often. Lepiberries don't come in belly too often, but I do have them there so they can use it. I just want to see a bunch of Metronome. I don't want to see super early struggles. But with how long these Slowking and Jirachi have to survive to win the fight, that Slowking is likely going to get to struggle, assuming it doesn't get taken out before it. That's not something that Sharon wanted to see.
A smashing blow. Well, both corners still have a chance to win this. What kind of developments can we expect to see next?
Is that including stat changes? I don't think so. I'm not actually sure what's higher on Slowking. They still haven't dodged anything, even though they use Minimize. There's another KO.
It's down and out.
Reflect is gone, making use of that with Rock Climb. Lead is still very much for Damien, 4-2. Fake Jaws is next.
Mawile is sent out.
Mawile for another Intimidates, and with Sharon now unable to switch their Pokemon, even through something like Whirlwind or U-Turn, those attack disruptions are just going to stay. Slowking's at -2. Jirachi's at -1 attack stat, because they used Curse earlier. Slowking is pretty fast due to agility. Jirachi's a little slower, because they did use Curse once. But it does have a base 100 speed. That Lepiberry is gone too. That one's not as important. Due to the way the teams are set up in the order, with the lowest base throw Pokemon coming first, it is likely that you'll come to the last 2, maybe 3 Pokemon in every fight. It's unlikely that you'll win with, let's say, a 4-0 or 5-0. It's unlikely anyway, but let's say you get a 6-2 lead, while Healing Wish comes out. Sharon loves to see that. The big Pokemon, let's say a Garchomp or your Umbreon or your Fiona, might come out against the Wurmple and an Igglybuff. Alright, Land Shark. Garchomp comes out. Here's the big boy. Or girl. Which one is it? I think this is a male Garchomp. No, it's a female Garchomp. I couldn't quite see its back fin.
Who's going to take the glory?
Yeah, that's a female Garchomp. It would have a cut in its back fin if it was a male. So that's the highest base set. Actually, in terms of base set totals, Jirachi and Garchomp are equal. Because Jirachi's 100 everywhere, Garchomp is more spread around. Hydro Cannon, that's big. And Damien was leading very much. I think it was like 6-2, 6-3 at some point. We're tied on the final two. I think that Sharon is doing exactly what they need to do, which is KO quickly so that struggle on specifically Slowking doesn't really affect them. Now, here's an ace in the hole for Damien, the Sandstorm. It's not going to affect Jirachi. The only one's going to take damage from this Slowking. But it's going to be a little bit of damage, 1/16 of their max health every turn. So I said earlier, something like poison damage, that consistent bit of damage every turn can be huge, considering usually damage output is pretty slow on an average turn, so adding that to it can get huge results. That's also why something like Ingrain or Aqua Ring with a consistent healing every turn is big as well. But here is Break Anatar. Not as much damage as I expected. That's still big damage. That is exactly what they need to do. Thunderbolt on Slowking. Survives. It's going to survive the Sandstorm as well, but not for long. One more turn to do something. So we're probably not going to get to the power points running out. Advantage I say still Damien, but one really good move from the other side. And it could be over. Leaf Blade. Oh, is that going to be a miss on Sandvale? Garchomp a Sandvale. Everything goes to 4 to 5 or just 80% accuracy of what it would normally be when Sandstorm is up. So that was aimed at Garchomp. That's huge. Perish Song. That's not good for Sharon, because if everything dies at once, I think if it's set up that they lose. Wait, no, this is group stage. They should tie. That's the one rule that I forgot to change. I'm going to count it as a tie if Perish Song knocks them all out. Because the standard rule is, if the user of self-destruct, or like, if the final move uses self-destruct or everything, the final Pokemon dies by Perish Song, then the user of the move loses. That's top cut rule. I forgot to change that.
Well, both corners still have a chance to win.
So if everything goes down to Perish Song, which there's a decent chance for, especially considering there's no Sandstorm damage on Jirachi, it's a tie. In last tournament, I think we only had one tie, which is, I want to say it was me versus Van Grants in group stage. If Perish Song takes them out, it's going to be a tie. I knew there was something in a minor rule change between group stage and Top Cut last time. Because the rule set I've used for Metronome tournaments for the last 2 years is just called Metronome 2C, Metronome TC, which stands for Top Cut. It uses the Top Cut rules. Jirachi might just want to survive. It is unlikely it'll win in a 2v1 scenario. So as long as it survives for the next few turns. Let's see, how much do we have left for Perish Song and Doom Desire? 2. So if everyone survives, at least Jirachi survives for 2 more turns, it's a tie. It's not a win, but it's also not a tie. Because if, let's say, Damien would win 1-0, that's one, just really good for the points, but also for tiebreakers, it gives Damien a +1 because they have 1 Pokemon remaining when they won. It also puts Sharon at -1. Would be interesting if Sharon is able to, if Sharon claws it back as a tie from being so far behind, that Shedinja being really hard. Healing Wish, Mawile did not help at all on Damien's side. That's some damage. Still look, unless something big like Earthquake or Flamethrower comes out, this might be over. Yeah, we're gonna get to final turn. Is the first match. It was looking like near domination until multiple Pokemon were KO'd. You had the Drill Peck on Shedinja, the Hydro Cannon is straight up taking out Luxio, the Healing Wish. A lot of quick, big KOs that sometimes you can't get. That's why you say that even if you're a few Pokemon behind, it can change in an instant. It's luck-based after all. It could have happened the other way as well. Drill Pack is not going to do too much damage. Defense is increased still. And it's resisted due to the Steel typing. Jirachi and Garchomp left. No switches. Aura Sphere takes out Garchomp, which is nice for them, but due to Perish Song, it doesn't matter. If Parasol wasn't active, this would have been big. Very big. But if Garchomp doesn't finish it, I don't think that's enough. It's gonna be a tie. Our opening match in the Metronome Tournament this year. It's gonna be a tie. I believe due to the way the rules were set up in PBR itself, it'll say Damien won. But I'm not gonna treat it as such. It's a tie. That's the one rule I forgot to change. I'll do it right before the next match. We have a tie. It doesn't happen often. Something like self-destructive Parasol that can make it happen.
The game is now over. The result is a draw.
Oh, it does say draw. Okay. Yeah. First one's a draw. That's pretty incredible. Well, the next match in Group A will be Noah and Rosalina. They've seen the other two get a draw, therefore not a win. Whoever wins between Noah and Rosalina takes the lead in Group A.